Welcome to the Voyage podcast. Today we're going to be talking about the Masters. I want to welcome, first of all, from Road Trips is Dwayne Penner. Hey, Dwayne.
Always good to join you folks on this. I look forward to it and enjoy it. And
Oh.
talking about the Masters, there's few things more fun than talking about the Masters.
Is that a Masters hat you got on there?
It is. It is.
I was about to say you look fresh off the Masters
Yeah.
2026
Well,
with the
and
tan and everything.
I actually said this year was the perfect example of why Sunday afternoon at the Masters is just the coolest thing in sports. I mean, the lead changing that many times, the people involved in the mix, the weather was perfect. It was just Sunday afternoon at the Masters as it was intended to be.
Well, I also want to welcome Kelly Graham from the Outlander Society, Troy Montanari, and Kristen Trevey from MGA Travel. So welcome, guys. We've all that are on this podcast booked a lot of Masters trips, especially last year, and looking forward to 2027 is the next one on the books. But this podcast is actually about all future bookings and how it might work with MGA Travel, how it might work with road trips. And that's what we're going to talk about today, in addition to the Masters and maybe some things we like about it. So, Dwayne, you were actually on site this year?
Only a very little bit. I was kind of passing through and then on my way, so I was there and then not there. But we had a lot of staff. We had quite the team there. It was a big year. It was actually our biggest Masters in terms of guests ever. And I mean, we're on a bit of a trajectory that way because last year was also the biggest. But it's hard to imagine, but that event is getting more and more popular. More and more people are finding out just how great an event that is.
Yeah.
I've talked to people, and from what I come across time and time again, it's that Augusta National is almost like a hallowed ground for golfers. And even if you don't golf, but just to be in the presence of the course itself is a magical thing, is how a lot of people describe it.
No, I agree. All of that except the almost. I think it's entirely hallowed ground. And it's one of those rare sporting events where the venue in many ways is as much or the biggest attraction. I mean, to be on those grounds, it does forever change how you'll watch it on TV to just understand the elevation changes and and high definition TV is great, but man, live, that is just a pretty spot.
I think I watched every single minute of starting even Monday, like I was on the Masters app.
He's not kidding.
Nice.
It's true.
It is true. I had to tell everybody I had to apologize to like all of our clients and our agents and everything because I had it going on this TV just like any hour it was on watching it. And I haven't watched that much in the past. You know, I used to just tune in right for maybe Sunday or something like that. But I don't know. I actually found like the par three and the relaxed atmosphere, like that was really fun. I mean, if I was going, I think I would pick the Wednesday for the par three, you know?
Again, there's lots of real pros. I mean, for all the practice, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. I mean, Wednesday, the par three, as you mentioned, which is totally unique and fun, and all the pro golfers with their kids and wives, but even Monday, Tuesday, when you're on the actual course that they're going to play, and to be able to bring your camera then, which you can't on tournament rounds, and the players, some of them at least, are more interactive when they're practicing. So there's something to be said for Monday, Tuesday. Wednesday is very unique, and then obviously Thursday through Sunday on tournament rounds has their own appeal.
So I have a question for you. What is it like as a spectator if you were to stay on Sunday? What kind of access do you have to the ceremony and everything that happens after the final shot?
I mean, so as you see on TV, obviously lots of people do. So you have lots of access. The only caveat is what sort of the knowledgeable Augusta National or Masters fan knows is that when the gates open, you go and you put your Masters chair at the spot you want on 18. So you'll see a tremendous amount of people rush to 18 so they can see both, the walk up, or they may set up to see the ceremony a little bit better. So, but seeing the Masters champ come up the 18th and that sort of thing is you are part of sports history when you do that. So
Yeah, for sure.
it's available. There are other people that will do some jockeying for that spot, or those spots plural.
And
Well,
in general, for people who don't know, isn't it customary that you can use any chairs that are free as while the owner is not there, but then as soon as they come back, they would get it back?
Correct. And it is interesting because also you're completely safe also putting your chair down, wherever even during previous days of play. I mean, I have my favorite spots, and I'll often go and put my chair where I want it and then wander a few other places. And yeah, and when you come back, if it's not empty, that person will vacate it, and you can. But I also do a lot of sitting somewhere for watching a number of groups come in, and then another one of my favorite spots. But yeah, the placing the chair is super handy.
Well, I think one of the unique things about your organization is the ability to get some of those insider tips before you go, especially for a lot of people, this is going to be a one-time, once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. So you don't have the time and time again to gain this knowledge. So working with you provides that in so many ways.
I mean, so we've been doing sports travel for over 30 years already, and not maybe quite all of those included in with the Masters. It's changed a lot, and even a lot of our staff. I mean, I know on our staff team, I bet the rookie in that group that was on site today has done 7 or 8 Masters. So
Wow.
we always have our 2 cents to give, given our experience. That we do.
Yeah. So if one of my clients is going to Masters for the first time they've ever been there, would you suggest a couple spots where, hey, at least watch a few groups go through this area? And what would be some of the preferred spots that you think they would be most impressed with?
No, 100%. And so, I mean, starting with my favorite one, I actually I spend a fair bit of time every year at the top of 16. That's the last par 3 that's got the really sloped green, and
Yeah.
and again, it's different pin placements on different days, but I mean, you can see the whole hole, all the drama of whether they made or didn't get to the bank, and that sort of thing. And then what's also kind of neat is then, as if you're at the green side of 16, as they then exit the green and head up to 17, and you can see them tee off, and you could almost impede their backswing. They're so close. So it's kind of fun. And again, especially
Okay.
when you get a tee sheet, once you get on the course, you kind of see which groups are coming where, who's your favorite few golfers that you'd love to see come through, or can't do
Yeah.
this anymore. But back in the day, wanted to make sure that you saw the Jack and the Arnie and the Gary Player come through, and now it'll be different people. But
Yeah.
that's one of my favorites. I mean, people are so familiar with, and TV has made Amen Corner really popular. So any of that 12, 13, 11, 12, 13 is great. And again, really dramatic holes. But I also really encourage people, I mean, often because, maybe they've only watched Sunday afternoon, to walk the front nine, which doesn't get nearly the coverage. I mean, there's just some great holes. There's some,
Yeah.
Louis Oosthuizen's, albatross on that par 5. I mean, there's just some history that's happened on that front nine. It's super cool to see, and man, those guys can hit it a long way when you see some of them tee off and just pipe it 300 plus yards carrying bunkers, or
Are
not.
there any what you might notice as rookie mistakes from fans if you see somebody you're like, they're not maximizing their time, or they're not in a great spot, anything to possibly tell them to avoid doing to maximize their experience?
I mean, there are so many good things about the Masters. One as well is like, if you go when the gates open, and I mean, you literally have, you know, 8-10 hour day so you
Yeah.
can really cover a ground. So some of your rookie mistakes might be, you maybe didn't do it in most efficient manner, but and because of how you access or cross certain holes, it can take a little while to move, but you really do have time to, again, like I
Yeah.
said, follow some groups on the front nine and then spend time in the holes of Amen Corner. But you know what, that dramatic tee shot when they make the turn at 10. I mean, you can kind of see it all, and have every one of the, pimento and egg salad, have all the good sandwiches, have all the good,
Yeah.
azalea cocktails and cover a lot of ground. So that's one of the many nice things is you can really get a lot done, even with just one day at Augusta National, at the Masters. The thing to be aware of, maybe we've referenced the par three tournament on Wednesday. That would be a day that gives you then a lot less to see on the actual Augusta National course, because the par
Right.
three is totally separate. So if one is only doing one day, they do want to be aware that the par three is the bulk of that day, and it's not on the holes you watch on television.
So if you had a certain golfer that you were trying to follow, it wouldn't be overly difficult to just move with them from hole to hole. It's set up in a manner that allows that.
Yeah,
Was
yeah, for sure.
yeah.
And again, this now hasn't happened in quite the same way, but there were certain years where people would do that, particularly with Tiger. And so
Mhm.
sometimes that crowd would be a little big. So you might need to do a little bit of leapfrogging where where his
Okay.
group is. So
Yeah,
if he was on this hole, you'd maybe go all the way, get a spot, and then have him come by, because that mass
that
of
was
people trying
tough.
to follow him could be quite large and stuff.
I
But
gotcha.
Like when
Okay.
little kids play soccer and they all just go around the ball like that in a big mass.
exactly, exactly.
So you said 10
Perfect.
about 10-hour days. What time typically does the course open to guests?
I mean, it usually opens a little bit before 8, and again, the first two rounds where the field is still before the cut are a little bit longer, and but yeah, so you can be there really quite early, and as long as there's no weather changing anything, so yeah, you can you can get a good amount of steps in to you
So
know
for the people, let's say they do decide to get a Road Trips Masters package. Is there sort of an orientation or anything like that, or do they meet their host before they go into the grounds, or could you walk us through that a little bit?
Sure. Well, and then maybe what I'll do is I'll even back it up way earlier. I mean, one of the things that we do, and one of the things we do often with you folks, even in three-way calls, is to get the client, get the guest on a call with one of our sports travel experts. And because as you can imagine, for somebody who's looking at going to the Masters, it's probably just a near and dear event. So we really encourage. I mean, like I said, the staff group that was on site, I mean, they've been doing it for years, been with us for years. Let them ask all their questions, even well before they're attending. And we have information. I mean, and we've got our own, sort of destination guide for Augusta and the tournament. We have lots of those frequently asked questions. We have a lot of stuff to do or to provide right from the very beginning. And then also we like to spend some of that time hearing from the traveler. Like, I mean, if you could paint your perfect picture, of what it looks like, and we can provide our expertise on what different days and practice rounds and par three and tournament rounds and Sunday afternoon, not Sunday afternoon. And so together kind of build the perfect experience for them. And then in the lead up to that too, I mean, in their travel documents, they'll get a lot of information, on the area, on recommendations, on the course, on favorites, different people's favorites, maps, all these sorts of things. And then when they arrive on site, again, we have staff in each of our hotels, or if they're doing a private home, and so they have contact and access with our staff on the ground. And I mean, one of the things that's fun is all of our staff and all of our guests and almost everybody in between. I mean, just love the Masters and have done the Masters and are golf fans, and whether you're hoping Rory repeats or doesn't, or whether you're hoping that Justin Rose finally, gets past second, or, whoever your favorite people are that you're really, pushing for, you'll get as much information and sort of interaction as you need to, again, make it your preferred trip.
Yeah, I know for this most recent Masters, Chris was really happy to set up like Zoom conference calls with the guests, for those little, detailed questions I might not know the answer to. And that was really helpful for me. And also the guests, they could ask anything they weren't sure about and get some inside knowledge.
Yeah. Yeah, when it comes to people's favorite sport or favorite event, they tend to know an awful lot. So it works really well to again pull in one of our like Chris, a guy who's done that event a lot of times, and just let them ask questions. It's good fun. There's a real halo effect. I mean, the anticipation of going to the Masters is definitely part of the fun, and then doing the Masters and then recounting and reliving your memories after the Masters is it's the event that keeps on giving.
Yeah, 100%. I love anticipatory happiness, and
Yeah.
that's certainly the earlier you book, the more time you have. First of all, secure the days and the hotel and properties that you want and the package you want, but also really you get more bang for your buck because you're enjoying just thinking about it, even up until
100%.
then.
Yeah.
So let's take a break and you tell us, I'm going to do it like this. Dwayne, tell us a little bit about road trips, what you do at road trips, not just the Masters. I mean, you can include the Masters, but so we have an idea.
Sure.
And then, Kristen, I'm going to ask you to follow that up to say, why would someone want to work with MGA Travel to work with road trips? As just like we were talking about having a Zoom call with somebody from road trips, somebody from MGA, and a potential client or patron, as they're called on. So go ahead, Dwayne.
Well, yeah, like I said, for over 30 years, we've been working in sports travel and helping fans live their sports travel dreams. And we basically do the pinnacle events in most sports. And so that tends to be the one that people have the most or require the most help, most assistance. And so our two maybe biggest events are the World Cup of Soccer, which is the biggest event in the world, which happens this time in our backyard in Canada, Mexico, and United States, but again, happens in a different place every year. And then the Summer Games, which just happened in Paris now a couple of summers ago, and will be happening next in Los Angeles. So again, events that people often need a lot of help to, again, navigate, find their way, have access to assets. And so those are two really big quadrennial events. We do a lot of international events, things like Monaco Grand Prix or Wimbledon. Wimbledon also being one of those sporting events where the venue is sort of half the attraction, and French Open also for some people. And then the big events in each of the sports here, stateside. Things like the Derby, things like the Masters, Indy 500. I mean, again, different sports float different people's boats, and people tend to really have a passion for their favorite sport. I mean, when their team makes it to the Super Bowl or when their team makes it to the World Series, I mean, those are points in history that people talk about forever. And then especially if you and your parents and your grandparents, we're all, I could pick a team and I impress some people and offend other people by going, if you've been Steeler fans for the rest of your whole life, yeah. Those are, you still talk about, stuff decades ago and recent stuff.
Sure.
But, again, Rory completing the Grand Slam last year at Augusta. And I mean, that was, again, that hasn't happened many times in any of our lifetimes. And that was history, and to just say you were there is cool. And so it's when you combine people's love of travel with their passion for sports, it really is a travel experience that creates lifetime memories. I mean, it sounds a little cliche, but it truly is that. And so, the fact that your clients can work with you and create their preferred experience. Like everything we do is customized. We don't ask anybody to pick A, B, or C off the shelf. You tell us what you'd like to do, what you'd like to spend, how long, with whom, what configuration, and we'll try and build it that way. And that's why we appreciate working with, advisor partners like you folks who know exactly how to work with your guests and clients to create their preferred experience. So
Imagine a world where travel is more than just a destination. It's an experience where your love of travel intersects with your passion for sport. Welcome to Road Trips. Personalized luxury travel experiences to the world's most sought-after events. Live your sports travel dreams with personalized itineraries to your preferred sporting event. Allow us to take care of all the details. Through curated luxury hotel collections and on-site staff to elevate your travel experience. Because with Road Trips, it's not just about the game. It's about how you experience it.
That's great. And it's the passion from everybody in your organization definitely shines through.
thank you. No, we have almost no turnover. I think, again, like I said, with masters, people have been at minimum 7 or 8 years, and again, helping travelers, helping guests. When you're on site and you see somebody that comes back from Augusta National with, again, a bag full of merchandise from the pro shop and having walked the course and, beaming from ear to ear, and you watch, Golf Channel and some highlights and have a beer, and they just beam, and it's good fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in terms for us at MGA, I mean, we specialize more in, travel generally. And I think it's similar to us booking with a lot of different vendors. Like if someone books a cruise, we can always use the cruise line as a resource for trip details. But here at MGA, we can help with things outside of the package. If, for example, for the masters, like if they need help with flights, they want different quotes for travel insurance, arranging transfers, or we even have one lady who wanted to add a trip to Savannah, Georgia onto her master's trip. So we can assist with some of those other things that might fall outside the purview of Road Trips.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, I hear a lot of people that, of course, if they're already our clients, there's a trust factor and they know us and we've helped them with other trips. And we've done that with some families before that have gone on to the Masters. And we really can help with any road trips package, but we really specialize in the Masters. Part of it, we're relatively close proximity to Augusta here in South Carolina. And we've gained some experience helping people find maybe the right package, like talking them through, because sometimes people have a budget in mind, or you can look at a starting price and it's not always jive with reality after they determine, like, oh, I guess maybe not all 7 days, it's going to
I do
be.
that a lot.
So just kind of helping people manage their expectations and line them up. And when it comes to sports travel with road trips, it's one of the few times MGA travel we don't charge any additional fees. So it costs exactly the same as what it would cost to go to road trips directly. But you have somebody advocating for you and helping you on those details that maybe road trips doesn't do, just like Kristen just said. So I would agree with all that.
And I think I'd even add one more thing to that, and maybe in some ways the most important thing is with all travel, but maybe specifically with sports travel, the fact that you've done the work and vetted who your partners will be. I mean, you can go online, a client can go online and try and find a sporting event and find a vendor and find a great price, and that can go all kinds of sideways. So the fact that you've done the work and made sure of who your partner is, again, like I said, with all travel, but with sports travel is very important. So you cover lots of value for your clients.
Yeah, there's certainly horror stories out there of events like the Super Bowl, things like that, with counterfeit tickets and other problems along those lines that lead to some not only great disappointments but great money loss as well. So yeah, it's a real problem today. You're right.
Well, since you brought up tickets, I want to ask you, Dwayne, when you I've heard these stories, like the Masters at the Masters at Augusta is getting ever more strict about ticket resales, and I know you guys don't sell only tickets. It's always a package. But how can our viewers feel comfortable knowing that they won't be turned away at the gates or something like that?
No, good question. And one of the things that's interesting about that question is it's sort of become a question like sort of this year and maybe a little bit last year, but really that policy has existed at the Masters for again for many years, but also it has been part of the mix also for many years. So, you know, again, the Masters is a unique sporting event, and how, the fact that there are patrons of Augusta, patrons of the club that own these badges, and they make them available to people like us. Some of them do to help golf fans go. It is, I don't think there's anything that is similarly ticketed in the world of sports. And so there definitely are sort of procedures and protocols that we are required to do by the patrons that entrust our badges to us. And again, it's even just the badge is unique, sort of a guest, the guest that may use it on Thursday is going to be different than the guest on Friday, and different than so, those have to go and come back and be reissued. So we again, one of the benefits of having our guests on, I mean our staff on site, is we step you through that whole process, just telling you how it works. We'll tell you who the badge owner is and that sort of thing. So if on the very rare occasion that you do get asked on entrance to Augusta National, you can say, this is the badge, this is who, where it's from, and who, we got it from. One of the things, again, it's a great question. It's a issue, but one of the things that happens with people is when you read something as a news story, you feel a little bit like, holy smokes, it just sounds like, droves of people are being turned away, and it sounds like a nightmare. And I mean, and it has happened. People have had, but I can tell you that we have never lost a badge or had somebody not be allowed into Augusta National, even though, again, it has happened. It is a story, but we are very careful where we get ours from, and educate our guests on just how it works, and so it's something to be aware of. We're very clear on how it all works, but like I said, to date we haven't had a single issue where we have had a guest, turned away or had a badge confiscated.
All right, well, I'm gonna knock on wood just on your behalf.
There you go.
Well, again, it's a totally different situation than you see somebody maybe like essentially scalping tickets on StubHub or something like that, or they've bought and resold, and you've got who knows what the provenance is behind that ticket. And probably one of the reasons you don't sell only tickets. And
Yeah. And even in our terms and conditions, even whenever, with all our sports, but with Masters as well, people have agreed that whatever we sell them, they aren't allowed to, won't resell. So, again, something comes up and you can, transfer it if you want to give it to your brother-in-law, we're fine. We'll facilitate that name change. But yeah, we like to run it a little tighter than StubHub.
so you can add on hospitality packages, is that right? Can you
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, again, there's so many things about this event that are unique. So again, on most PGA Tour stops, there will be a temporary hospitality area with tents and hospitality, food and beverage. That's not how the Masters does it. The Masters, there are hospitality venues around Augusta National, outside of the golf course, where again, as you build your preferred experience, people sometimes want to avail themselves to. And some people, what they'll do is they may, as an example, go to Thursday at the Masters and go on site. But then on Friday, they want to continue to enjoy the vibe of Augusta. They're going to go see John Daly one evening in a restaurant, with beers. But they're the next day they may go to one of these hospitality venues that are, again, set up with viewing all over the place. lovely gourmet food, beverage. Some will have little putting areas, different things to kind of, and especially if if you're going with some golf friends or you and your spouse, a couple of couples, a bunch of guys, whatever it is, it's a great venue to watch another day of the Masters before you go back on Saturday or however you built your package. So those are available, and some people will have them also on tournament days. Some people have them because they like to, as much fun, and I love it. The concessions at Augusta National are great. Everybody's heard the stories. The sandwich, the ice cream sandwich, a sandwich and a beer for like $8. Like it's like no other sporting event.
Pimento cheese sandwich for like $1.50.
No, exactly. So, but some people, they'd like to leave the course for a bit of a break and have a higher level of food and beverage available. And then again, that's all inclusive at these hospitality venues. So some people love to do that. Some people do it, if there is, again, knock on a little more wood, but a weather delay. Some people prefer to be able to leave the course and go in proximity and again have some nice place to stay and have some food and drink. And then when the horn sounds again to go back to the course. So it's something that makes a ton of sense. I don't know, sometimes, if you get a small corporate group, they may just kind of meet there at the beginning and meet there at the end and enjoy some more time building relationship and that sort of thing. But it's something that can be added, doesn't need to be added, and some people love it, and some people, once they're on Augusta National, won't leave till they turn out the lights.
That's a great idea, though, to use it as kind of an after party venue for the next day to extend your experience. I never thought of that. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
But is it true they can't just kind of go in and out? There's only a limited amount of times you can go in and out with your badge, right?
Correct. You are only allowed to enter with your badge 2 times. So when you go, you can leave once and go back, but that's all. You are not allowed multiple entries, just 2.
Okay. All right, Troy, I got a question for you.
Sure.
Who's more likely to be let back in the Masters? Would it be like John Daly barefoot, or could it be Sergio Garcia with his driver broken in half? Who's
The broken driver? Boy, I would think they might be more lenient towards dress code as opposed to poor behavior displayed by Sergio this past year. I think that is probably more frowned upon than even Daly's bare feet.
All right.
I do like your idea, Kristen, of also adding Savannah on because then you can participate in my favorite sport, which is dining.
And we do also have a lot of people that will come for the Masters and usually post, sometimes pre the Masters, but then, probably whoever they're traveling with loves to watch, but also loves to play golf. So whether they head to, any of the spots around, Hilton Head, Sea Island, up north, even Lake Oconee, some people will, after the Masters, go to the Ritz Lake Oconee and what do they have? I think 6 courses there already, so what a 1-2 punch on a golf trip to see the hallowed grounds of Augusta and then hit the links and play a couple of rounds of golf and have a few more days and dinners and glasses of scotch with whoever you're traveling with.
Absolutely. And springtime in the South is a good time to be here.
Yeah.
Right.
So, Kristen, tell me about the hotels and what your favorite one is that we have to choose from in these packages.
So the hotels offered that are in Augusta would be the Hilton Home 2 Suites and the Sheraton. I have aired toward the Hilton just based on online reviews. I think maybe the Sheraton was under construction. Maybe that's part of it, why it didn't have as good, and maybe those will improve. I never thought of partnering, and Dwayne, I don't know if you recommend this, for people to maybe stay in one of those hotels for the days they're attending the Masters and then stay at the Ritz before or after, rather than commute from the Ritz. Is that something people do?
Sure. Again, I'll sort of answer 2 questions there. I'll maybe start with the later one, but
Yeah.
Again, the Ritz Lake Oconee is a great property and it's a great golf resort, one of the best golf resorts in the Southeast. But I also think, do that after as opposed to during, because it is a bit of a hike. And again, Augusta during the Masters just has a vibe, has a charm, has a, to be there during it. I don't think you want to leave. In terms of favorite hotels, it is always interesting. I mean, Augusta, here we have one of the biggest sporting events in the world, one of the most exclusive and coolest, and for the golfer, like, the ultimate. And it happens in a bit of a backwater, rural Georgia city. I mean, no offense to anybody from Augusta, but so I remember some of the early years that I went, and so you'd have these interstate hotels that are 3 or 3.5 stars, and it's just full of Beamers and Mercedes and Land Rovers, and it's like it's like no other time of the year, I don't think so. And getting back to what you said earlier, the Sheraton did just go through like a complete renovation. It is one of the better hotels in Augusta. Again, Home2 Suites does a great job. There'd be more hotels in that category. They do an excellent job kind of rolling out I was going to say the red carpet, maybe the green carpet during Augusta, and but the Sheraton is one of the better hotels, but the renovation, I mean, you know how it gets. All hotels eventually really benefit from just doing a whole redo of rooms and common areas.
And I guess we could mention too that both of those include your shuttles back and forth to the golf course.
Yes, technically both those hotels and most of the hotels there, they offer it. It's a service that is offered, via the hotel, and super affordable, super easy. I mean, technically, if you take your vehicle, the parking at Augusta National is free, but you can definitely get stuck in a bit of a big sporting event and in a line to get into the parking, and then you might park quite a ways. And so the quick shuttle there to the drop-off loop is very handy. And then you can have a few of those, azalea cocktails or the Master logoed beers and just take the shuttle back.
I like that. People do ask, well, some crazy questions are like, well, we want to be able to play at Augusta, during the time of the Masters. I'm like, okay, well, maybe it's even more likely that John Daly and Sergio are going to be able to play. But I said, you're probably, we'll be glad to help you look in Aiken or maybe out in Oconee, but I don't think you're going to be playing there, even if it's not the Masters.
You can ask your friend Bill Gates or somebody if he needs a fourth. But you're right. There's lots of golf in the vicinity, none at Augusta National to play for us.
And that's what I kind of tell people about the Ritz-Carlton. I mean, obviously that's the preferred property over the standard fare hotels that Augusta has. But without that shuttle, it's not just drinking and driving. It's a great point. So you can enjoy some of the azalea drinks and things like that. But also, like, where do you park? Or as you pointed out, how long might you be waiting to park and that kind of thing. So that goes back. That's a really good idea. I haven't even thought of it, to book the Ritz-Carlton for afterwards and then go play your golf. I think that's a great idea.
So I'm not really a golfer, but I mean, how does that work if you all are a golfer and you've just watched all these amazing golfers? Does that help your game or does that make it worse?
Yeah, it probably doesn't help. I mean, you're in a great mood, which always helps. But though, thankfully, I mean, even those guys, Justin Spieth a few years ago, took a 9 on a par 3, number 12. Like, they have their bad shots. We definitely have ours, but again, you play golf and then you just regale yourself with tales of being on Augusta National, and you're wearing that new Masters Augusta golf shirt, and yeah, you probably play a little bit better.
Yeah.
That's right.
You gotta get your bragging gear.
I felt better. Like, I was like, oh, well, Rory does hit it in the woods. So like, I can hit it in the woods too,
And you
Excel at
definitely
that,
look
yeah.
better. If you got all that Masters merchandise on,
Oh,
you'll
absolutely.
definitely look better. And that's always one part of your game that you can control. You can be a top golfer in terms of Masters merch post a trip to Augusta.
I like it.
That's true.
Right.
I tell you, one thing I learned watching the Masters this year's are all of the rules, not just for the patrons, but for the commentators and the announcers, of the things that they're not allowed to say.
And Augusta runs a very, again, tradition is the words that come to mind, and the there's no running, there's you're quiet. You have these tournaments like at the Waste Management in Phoenix where it's become loud and boisterous and hucking beer cans at the par 3 on 6. No, Augusta National, there is a high level of decorum from golfers. Again, the reference of Sergio having a bit of a, and he got a very clear reprimand from Augusta National. That's not how you may be a professional golfer. At Augusta National, you don't do that. And commentators have stuff they know not that Jim Nantz would ever misstep, but you can tell he fits. And then so also as guests, patrons, there are lots of sports with bad behavior.
What was the guy, Troy? Who was the guy, Troy, that got kicked out? He's a professional golfer for using his phone.
Yeah, Mark Calcavecchia.
Yeah, he's a senior golfer.
Recently.
Yeah.
They're very serious. Nobody can use your phone.
Nobody.
Nobody. Yeah, he didn't bring them on. So I don't even know how he snuck his on, but yeah, no phones allowed during tournament rounds. No phones, no smartwatches either that can have cellular or picture capabilities, no, the new Meta glasses.
Yeah, I was just going to ask about those.
Yeah. So some of the things that I found out that they can't see, I was interested. I went to high school with Kelly Tillman, who's a longtime golf pro and announcer with the Golf Channel, and she did a lot of the what do they call it, where they're on the driving range in the mornings during the practice rounds and stuff. Yeah. So and listening to them just kind of catch themselves, like they can't say you can't say sand trap. It has to be bunker. You can't say the back nine. There's only the first nine and the second nine, right? I mean, it's, I guess, and you can't hit it in the rough. It's just a second cut or something like that, I think. And I found out that two things they can't talk about even in general is you can't talk about the money for the purse for the winnings at all if you're one of these announcers. And you cannot speculate about where the ball might be if the camera can't find it. They're not allowed to speculate on that, which I guess there was some problem for Nantz on the CBS coverage on Sunday on that final kind of Rory shot that went off and nobody could find it. And they caught some heat for that at CBS, I guess.
Yeah. He was way right there too. Yikes.
Yeah, he was. So
yeah.
I thought it was pretty cool.
Part of the charm. Yeah.
What was it, Troy?
I said all the little quirks, part of the charm.
Yep.
Like no other.
And I liked how far the payouts go all the way down to everybody who made the cut, essentially, right?
Yeah.
Although there was a lot of mention about like how much the IRS gets out of these payments. That kind of blows, but that's the way it works.
They can still put bread on the table.
Yeah, that's I think they'll manage, especially if you're in like the top 10, you're going to be fine. Yeah. They said there was something like private jets leaving Augusta Airport on Sunday after the Masters, over 200 private jets leaving.
Well, and the Masters weekend, that Masters tournament is the single biggest private jet event in the US.
Wow.
So, and what's interesting, if you fly in and out of there commercially, I mean, I guess, or privately, but it's not a big airport, and they've taken sort of one runway and kind of half the airport just on the grass, and they are just stacked, one on top of each other. It's you can tell they're not equipped for it, but yet they've managed to park them out there, valet them in mass.
Wow.
Dwayne, I wanted to ask you, what have you seen in terms of attendance differences between like a practice round on a Tuesday versus, one of the early rounds like Thursday and Friday versus Saturday, Sunday rounds? I mean, for somebody who is, trying to pick their days, I mean, do you see much variance day to day of just the volume of people there, or is it fairly consistent Monday through Sunday?
I mean, there are small variations. I mean, it's funny, the Thursday and Friday are often the busiest days, partly because, especially if you're trying to see a golfer, there's nobody's missed the cut, so they're there. So those can be very busy days. And some of the sort of type of people, whether they're high-powered executives or other people that travel a lot, it often fits better to be gone, the last part of the week and then home for the weekend. And then getting down into the details, on some years, Augusta, I mean, the Masters falls on Easter weekend, which then takes some amount of people out of Sunday or Saturday, Sunday. So, and then there are some people that, again, it's the highlight of their lives to be at the Masters at Augusta National. But Sunday afternoon, they want to be able to follow the action on TV. So it's and some people, and not me and maybe people I know, but some people, even that go Sunday, they'll actually leave. They'll go in the morning and then they'll go watch on TV in the afternoon, even though they've still got a badge. But
Wow.
whatever drama is developing between whichever players, and this would have been a great example where there were a handful of people in the mix on Sunday afternoon, and the lead changed hands, and so if you're on site, I mean, you can hear a roar. Oh, what happened? And it's kind of neat.
Yeah.
But some people that are real purists, they want to be able to follow all the drama of hits in the water, birdie putts, whatever it is that creates the drama of who's actually going to put on the green jacket at the end.
And maybe that would be a good day for the hospitality venue because they have screens everywhere, right?
Yeah.
All right, let me take 1 second. I'm going to show you how to find us on and how to book your master's package with us. And this, we've been talking about, we just watched the 2026 Masters and we're already booking 2027 Masters. But for the purpose of the podcast, I mean, this is an evergreen sort of thing. So if you're looking at 2028, 29, 30 of some sort of special anniversary or milestone that you want to do, let us know. We can't quote future years. Usually until right after the Masters has been played, but we can definitely get you on a wait list to contact you as soon as we can get something, because getting this information in early is the key to getting a good spot.
Yeah, and another thing is booking early if you want to go because the prices get, increase as time goes by.
That is true. Now, can you tell me, guys, if you just see Google Flights on my screen and nothing else, pretty much?
Yes.
Right. Okay. So the first thing I want to tell you is we are MGA Travel, so mgatravel.com, and you can go to start here, go to travel experiences, and then right there you're going to see Masters packages. And we go through here. Of course, 2027 is what's coming up. So we will go through the dates. Again, why you might want to work with us. We'll have our most recent podcast. This one was last year with Dwayne. We had a lot of fun doing that one too. We go over the overview, what's included in your packages, or what can be included in your packages, the schedule, and what types of things you could maybe expect to see if you pick those days, and then how to get the tickets and what's included with your road trips package. It's not just tickets, and it can't just be tickets, but this on-site tour host, I think, is hugely important. Having you guys have that space reserved. I mean, you can't just go call up the Hilton Garden Inn, whatever it is, and say that you want a room during the Masters. You're not going to get one. We have some kind of starting rates, and like Kristen said, that's for right now. The closer that you get to these types of events and the less availability and inventory there is, prices go up, obviously. So that's just for right now. And this is some sample pricing that we put together based on some of the quotes we've done for other people. So just to give you an idea, everyone, like Dwayne said, is a custom quote. So that I can't just say, oh, that's your price if you pick this. There may not be even availability at a particular hotel or something like that. So, but at least it gives you an idea about what to expect if you want 4 nights at hotel with 3 rounds, and whether those are practice rounds or whether those are tournament rounds. That's another one you can't say. You can't say 4th round. You can only say final round, or if you're an announcer. Then how to pay, what's included, the add-ons, like we talked about, the hospitality packages. And then here's the most important thing, this form. You fill out this form, and it will ask you all the questions that we need to know in order to give you a good quote. 1 second. If you know one of your agents already, you can pick their name, but if you don't, you're new to it, just pick first available. And let's see, our 10764 Highway 707 Myrtle Beach. I could spell Myrtle Beach after living here 50 years. That'd be great. So then you're going to come up here. Which year are you talking about? Well, we're going to talk about 27 right now. So like, which hotel do you want? And it'll let you know. It includes a shuttle. This is a shuttle provided by the hotel. The Ritz-Carlton, no shuttle, and it could be an hour away. So we're going to pick.
And we can arrange transfers from the Ritz as well, but
can arrange transfers, but as far as having a dedicated shuttle, we'll pick Kristen's favorite, Hilton Home to Suites. And then we're going to need to know how many people are traveling all together, not necessarily. Well, by people traveling, we mean how many people will need to go into the Masters. So let's just say it's 2, but you're friends. So maybe you want 2 separate rooms and you want 1 bed in each. We can do that, right? If there's availability, but you're going to be looking at some solo prices, which are higher, because we would like to see you maybe look at getting 1 room and get 2 beds in it and share that room. You're going to save money and have better choices because of the availability. Then you can pick your favorite, the days you want to attend. I know I want to be there for the par 3 and second tournament round, and preferred check-in and check-out dates. So if you picked, Wednesday, I think that's April 5th without looking at it, then you probably will want to arrive on April 4th.
Tuesday's the 6th.
Sorry, so Tuesday is the 6th. Okay, so Wednesday's the 7th of April next year. So we might advise that you arrive on Tuesday so that you can be there bright and early to get to the round. Or maybe you only want to go to the par 3 contest, so you don't mind arriving on Wednesday, and your first hotel night will be on Wednesday as well. And by the same token, maybe, by the time the second round is over, you've been partying a little bit, you want to go back to the hotel before you leave. So your check-in and check-out dates may be different than your first and last days that you want to select. And then this is kind of important, is to put your budget in here. Now, if you say you want to go to all 4 tournament rounds and your budget's, $5,000 per day, that's not going to work. But you can still type it in, and we'll reach back out to you before we go to road trips, and we're going to say, here's what you requested, and here's more or less how much that will cost you. But you said your budget was this, so here's how you could get your budget. Maybe you could go to 1 practice round and have 1 night or something like that would put you in there. And then it'll ask a couple more questions and then send it over to us, and then we'll be back in touch within just, if it's a weekend, it might be Monday, but we'll be back in touch with you within 48 hours. And we will reach out and help you through this process to make sure your budget and what you want, we find that common ground and make it work for you. And then any other types of things that you want to add that we can do, we'll do after the Masters package is booked with Road Trips, but we could do your airfare, insurance if you want to insure the trip. Not a bad idea either. So one other thing I want to say is another way to reach this. This is the Bon Voyage podcast. So Trips with Me takes you to the Bon Voyage hot list. It shows our up and coming trips that have something special about them. And of course, the Masters package is in there. So that's just one more way to get to that page. All right, I'm going to stop share, go back. Did I miss anything when with all that, Dwayne? Is there a step in the process I should have mentioned?
No, you've clearly upped your master's game. I mean, you're getting the vocabulary, the protocols and traditions. No, I think it's not your first rodeo in terms of this. So no, nicely done. That was nicely clear and lots of good. I mean, you went quickly over some, but there's lots of good information there that can be gleaned about the masters and attending. So no, that looked
Yeah,
great.
there's plenty to read. We hope you do read it. And in fact, we will put, let's see, right over here, we're going to put a QR code up that will also take you directly to the site. So please read through everything before you even fill out the form. We do appreciate that.
Is there a special link where you can get an egg salad hat? Or is that not?
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, those were popular this year with the different food item hats.
That was viral, right? That guy with the egg salad
That's
hat.
right.
It did just said
Yeah.
egg salad. That's it. Because they
Yeah.
don't let you wear like a bunch of brands or words or something like that. Or
Well, yeah, you have to be careful what you wear. I mean, obviously, there'll be a few guys there with a golf branded hat on, but
yeah.
you have to. But no, those Augusta food item hats. I think there was 4 or 6 different ones. They were kind of cool.
Nice.
Well, Troy, I asked Troy, I said, if instead of starting travel after being in corporate travel for 25 years, 13 or 14 years ago, we started MGA travel, we've all been in the travel industry for that time. And I said, Troy, well, do you think if instead of going into travel, if I'd gone back 13 years ago, I just played golf every single day, could I qualify? Could I get on the Masters as a player? And he said no.
Not in the cards, my friend.
But don't give up your dream, buddy, and don't give up your
No.
day job.
Yeah,
Well,
I think you're right.
don't let that be any excuse though not to play a ton of golf trying to
That's
get
right.
there.
Yeah, I
You
like
go
that.
out there and
I
enjoy
like
yourself.
All right. Is there anything from anybody else? Anything that you wanted to mention or add in there? No?
I'm good.
Well,
Always a pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
Dwayne,
Thank you for joining us, Troy.
Thank you.
Yeah,
And we
thank you.
appreciate our partnership with you guys. You're such a professional company. We really like working with you. And you have always delivered nothing short of a spectacular experience for our clients. So thank you for that. Your time today. Thanks, Troy and Kristen. Of course, Kelly. And thanks to all our viewers.